What's up guys, Justin Greenwald here with 65drums.com, and today I'm reviewing the DDrum Beta XP. I know a lot of you probably didn't even know that DDrum made electronic drums, but they do. They're more famous for their acoustic drums, but they do make e-drums too. And they were kind enough to send me this drum set. I'm actually going to mail it back after this review. I'm going to go over the pads first, then the drum module, and then play some kit examples for you guys near the end of the video. So you pretty much have the standard setup here. You got the crash, ride, hi-hat. These are all the exact same cymbal pad. They're all dual zone. They all have choke capabilities. All three toms are single zone. There's an identical pad to the toms that's used as a kick drum, and you have a dual zone snare right here. The playing surfaces here are really nothing to write home about. They're not that bouncy, they're kind of bleh. I like these electronic cymbals. They're pretty much the largest you can find at this price range. I really like the larger play surface. And I do like how there's plastic up here to make it sort of like a circle. I do not like how there's cutouts right here. Maybe they saved a couple of bucks by using less plastic, but I think that looks kind of toyish. Also, the rubber that's covering this part right here is very, very thin, and so that makes these cymbals a lot louder. I'm going to show you a sound comparison of how loud this is as compared to a Roland cymbal. Now I know that wasn't really a fair comparison because that one Roland cymbal costs pretty much as much as this entire drum set, but I don't think it would have been that difficult to put more rubber on those cymbals and make them a little bit quieter. I really like how there's a kick drum tower. However, one of the things wrong with that kick tower is that it is mounted too low. That's not the fault of the pad, that's the fault of the metal stand that it's on. And so you won't be able to extend your kick beater very far at all. By the way, this kick drum pedal did come with the drum set. I really, really like that. And yes, it can accommodate a double kick pedal. The thing I probably like the most is the rack. This is because I'm over 6 foot tall, and a lot of these beginner electronic drum sets look very, very small on me. I usually don't have the flexibility to make it as big as I need it. This rack lets me do all kinds of stuff that other electronic drum racks of this size do not. I could take this cymbal and probably make it about this tall. I'm not even exaggerating. I really like that amount of flexibility. All of these poles are made of metal. The connector pieces are made of plastic. That's actually really common in electronic drum sets. And these two cymbals right here have boom arms. So this is a pretty solid drum set. It does what you expect it to do for a $300 drum set. My only real complaint is with this hi-hat controller. It doesn't control well enough for me. Even when I hold it down all the way, it doesn't tell the brain that this is all the way closed. This isn't a software problem. I actually tested my hi-hat controller for my VH11 against this pedal. They look really different, but they do the same thing. When you hold down this, it tells the brain that the hi-hat is closed. When you hold down this, it tells the brain that the hi-hat is closed. And here's a sound comparison between the two. So as you see, it's a hardware problem, not a problem with the software. I will say this could be a defective unit, I don't know, but I just thought I'd let you guys know. The cabling on this drum set is really, really weird because most of these cables are mono. That's the black cables there. And some of them are red. Those are the stereo cables. Most of the cables have a 1/4 inch input to the module and an 1/8 inch to the pads, except for the snare and the hi-hat controller, which are 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch. Overall, it's a very convoluted system when you're trying to set it up. If I were DDrum, I would just streamline all of it. I would have individual cords for the individual pads, all the same color, and I would have them for different lengths. For example, this pad right here is only 5 inches away from the drum module, but it's got like a 2 or 3 foot cord, and I've got to wrap it around this tiny little cymbal arm right here. I wish it was a short cable labeled hi-hat, and maybe they should think about making all of the cords red. I kind of like the way this red cord looks against that black cymbal boom arm. So what about the sound module? There are a couple of things I actually really, really like about this sound module. One of them is that there are individual inputs for each pad. That means each of these pads has one cord that runs and connects to the sound module, not one cord coming from the sound module connecting to all the pads. That may not sound like a big deal, but if one of the cords goes bad here, I just replace one cord. If it was a snake that was one cord plugged into the module and then all kinds of braided cords going out to the individual pads, if the snake went bad, you'd have to buy an entire new snake. This also means that if I wanted to upgrade the sound module and not use the one that came with this, I could just go buy one and then plug all these existing cords into the new sound module. I wouldn't have to go buy all new cords because there is no snake being used. Another thing I like is the flexibility of this sound module. Quite a few drum sets at this price point do not let you do any customization. A lot of drum set manufacturers dumb down the sound modules at this price point, with one major exception, which is Alesis. And this drum module lets you create 4 custom kits and adjust the volume of each individual pad. And it comes with a metronome. You can record yourself. I think there's a 20,000 note capability, so you can record yourself up to 20,000 hits on the drum pads. And there's also play along songs, which no one actually uses. And the drum sounds are decent for something at this price point. I will say though, you will be looking at this drum module manual quite a bit, because this module, the screen that they're using and the software they're using to control this module, it's all numbers based and symbols based. So you won't really know what anything is. You'll have to go read up on this. And there's even a sound chart, because they don't tell you what the individual sounds are. You just have to hit the drum and find out what the sound is. So they have a big old chart here to tell you what everything is. It can be a little bit confusing, and I wish they'd streamline that module and make it more easy to use. So here's me playing some of those kits. At $300, there aren't a whole lot of competitors at this price point, except for the no-name brands no one's ever heard of, and Alesis is another one. There aren't a ton of legit options. This is a legit option. Go try to play this one if you can, but there's another drum set you should look at, which is the Alesis Nitro. So that is the main competitor to this drum set that you will have to go and look at as well. I really do recommend spending $500 or $1,000 or $800. Spend a little more money and you will get that quality jump. That gives the manufacturers a little more wiggle room to manufacture a nice drum set with higher quality parts, better rubber, spend more R&D on making the module even more powerful. That's just one man's opinion. I hope it helped you out. Be sure to subscribe. I got a new video every Sunday about electronic drums, and follow me on Facebook, 65 Drums.